Hi there, Nico from Green Space, here with Bujianna. We're visiting her because she's doing something quite unique in this area of Lusaka that she's living in, sorry. Do you want to kind of explain what you are doing here?
Okay, so we have a synthropic demonstration site. Well, let me say it's a regenerative demonstration site because we have more than one strategy that we're employing. But I've had this place for maybe 20 years or so, but I've only been back for the last 20 months. When I was coming back, I had ideas of putting up a housing block and everything, but as I was flying in, because I hadn't been back home for a long time, but I was flying in over Lusaka, my heart dropped. Because flying back was always a good thing because I would see the green. All I saw was brown and dead. My heart dropped. I couldn't put into words what I saw. It was just, you know, when they say that Zambia is one of the countries with the fastest tree cutting, deforestation, it's just like until you see it, it's just like, oh my God. Anyhow, I digress. So when I came, there was no way I was going to put up anything else other than do my part in replanting those trees.
I see you have quite a large parking and driveway area here, and it's gravel. Is there a reason that you've actually incorporated such a large space for this rather than kind of giving more space over to the gardens in behind?
Yes, absolutely. One of the reasons is based on syntropics, because we always want to make sure that our soil is covered. This is why we have the gravel, we have the quarry dust and the gravel, because we want the water to recharge. By recharge, I mean going back into the earth, being deposited. Because if we're pumping water out like in a bank, you put money in, then you take it out. Don't put anything, there's nothing to take out. So this is our homage to putting water in. So when we get a lot of rain, we have a little bit of flooding, but within a few minutes you can see that it's percolating and it's going in. Because if we leave it a hard clay, because we have clay soils, the water's not going anywhere. It just runs off, but it floods. So that's part of why we have the gravel. First, the idea for this is the water tank.
Yes.
Yeah, but I hate things that are just one purpose. And I hate the look of the tank stands. Right? So if I'm going to have a tank and I need to raise it, I'm going to put it on a structure that is dual purpose. Hence, that's why we raised it for the tank, but then also we put our office up so we're able to see the garden, but then also take the paperwork because it's all clamped in the house. And then at the bottom we have 2 rooms where we're able to put our tools and also store stuff that we need to store for the farm, so that it's out of the house and you know specifically where you can go kind of get some organization to it.
So I see here you've actually sunk a tank partly into the ground. What was the thinking behind that? Because that's a very uncommon thing to do in Zambia.
Well, this comes from when you're doing things after the fact, you're going to have to adjust. So I don't know if you noticed, but we have gutters because we rainwater collect. So we collect the rainfall. So when the water comes, it comes into our 5,000 tank, right? And then we had to get it into our 10,000 for storage. And then because of flow issues, it has to come down. So we had to dig down to get the water up, then we boost it up. But then we've kind of changed the system because we have a borehole now, right? So the rainwater and the borehole go straight into that, and we irrigate from that. Straight from the 5,000 we irrigate. But the water that we use for the house, we have to let it go through the chlorinator. We're not taking any chances. So over here, as you can see, is our worm farm. So this is 8 by 1 by 1, basically. So for our table scraps and excess produce that we need to get rid of, it all comes in here. Right? Then we get the worm tea that we use for the garden. The worm castings go back into the garden, but then we also process our waste. The idea about it is, like in permaculture, I want to be able to process all our waste. And then process it in such a way that we can use it again. Now, can you imagine if here we are, we can process all our waste, and we can process the waste of maybe 10, 20 other neighbors. So they don't have to put their waste on that stinky truck, right? Because what makes it stink, it's the table waste. Because that rots. I mean, the plastic and everything they can throw. But if they can bring that and it goes into the farmers and it's processed, so you kind of really helping the whole neighborhood or you're helping themselves. So it takes me maybe 6 months to get a waste big enough to have the...
Oh, really? For the garbage guys to come and collect?
Yeah, and then they try to make a killing. I'm like, no. Can you feel the temperature? Okay, it's not hot. You can't really compare, but it's pretty cool here. It gets really cool here, regardless of what the temperature is. And this is all food. Look up, there's food. We do have grapes in here, you know, because they technically last longer, about 50 years, but getting the right variety that does well here, you know. But that's the whole idea, because this is 3 to 5 years, right? But that lasts a whole lot longer. So as this is developing, we have this for food. So by the time this gets to full-fledged, we have.
It will have taken over. I see here, so you've got raised beds predominantly. Okay, why have you decided to do raised beds, I should ask?
Well, I guess this is also trying to learn the terrain, right? Because it floods, and you know, I'm growing asparagus here. I didn't want to plant my asparagus, which is a perennial that lasts over 25 years, in a place where it could get root rot. Until I have amended the soil enough so that it's not flooding or. So, but then what we did is we use blocks. So it's not permanent. Because I can move them if I needed to. But we also used hugelculture. So we filled it with a lot of logs and manure, wood. That's why the fertility in the raised bed is, you know, it's bananas, because they're filled in. And we keep this is the pumpkin leaves, calimbula, right?
Sweet potato, sorry.
Sweet potato. Oh yeah. Yeah, you go, sorry. Sweet potato. Because we had a lot of it, but we've just changed it because we've added some. You can see the little asparagus growing in there. It's the best ground cover. Right? Because once it's going and it's covered.
A living ground cover.
It's a living ground cover. Yeah, that's what we mean by a living ground cover, because, you know, and then it's dual purpose. Not only is it protecting your soil, because you don't want to have the soil. In fact, this is not good. We have too much soil exposed here. But it is providing food, right? It's covering the soil, it's providing food, and it's pretty much, as long as you're watering it, it's ongoing, it's perennial, basically.
It's perennial, exactly.
So, and because of the extreme temperatures that we have, mulching with dry matter is a challenge, because it just is eviscerated in a very short time. So living ground cover is usually the way to go.
Because I also see that you've got marigolds, and I see you do have ornamentals dotted here and there within the garden as well. What's your reasoning behind that?
So for me personally, I think a garden that has nothing to eat is just a waste of time. It has to have food in it, and dotted with the ornamental. If they are mixed together, yes, but if it's just good looking and I can't eat it, it's a problem. Because like we have prickly pear, we have lemon, we have lemongrass. You know, we can incorporate, even in a small space, you can incorporate the ornamental and the food, because it's always important to have food. I think personally. And then the sweet potato, because it's a vine, it just spreads. It's going to cover as much, but hopefully by the time it covers the asparagus, and they will be bigger, and it doesn't really matter because the ground is covered. And then I find that the lemongrass is actually very good on the soil. It really treats the soil, because the soil over there was really bad, but the lemongrass, it is a ground cover when it's full. But you know, we also make our own lemongrass and hibiscus tea.
Oh, nice.
So everything we can, we grow our own hibiscus, so it's organic, and we grow our own lemongrass. And then in a small space, you want things that you can actually add value to, process and store, right? It would be difficult to grow enough maize here, grain, but so, because this is a lot of lemongrass tea, right? And then we're always peppering in, like this is our comfrey, right? You can eat comfrey.
I've heard so. I don't know. Just
I've actually eaten it. I've cooked it. Yeah, you can eat it. I wouldn't eat it every day because, you know, toxicity and stuff like that. But you can. It tastes just like Chihuahua.
Really?
Yep. Just like Chihuahua. So for me, it's doing more than double duty.
Yes.
It goes in my compost. I can eat it. I can make it as a fruit folia. It's just it's a really versatile plant. And you see, we have our
Impois.
Impois, right? So it looks pretty enough, right? But it's edible. So we want to make sure that we have tons of food everywhere all the time. So yeah, so now here our domes are biodigester, because under here is like a 17 cubic meter
Okay.
and 14 cubic meter, and then we have the portable one over there. So this the soil here is all excavated,
Yeah.
but as you can see now, everything, because it was just like dirt,
Yes.
but now everything's growing over here. We have castor beans, right? We have lemongrass. We have all these different. We have flowers popping in there, but you know the Tusonia. I mean, the Mexican sunflower takes no competition. It just
Yes, it overgrows everything.
it
and stuff
overgrows
like that.
everything. And that's our little portable one. Well, it's not that little, but it's our portable one. It's essentially a vessel that digests the manure or human excrement. So when you put in your manure, human or whatever, it's processed, and that gas comes out. That
From the line there, yeah.
gas comes out that we use to cook, and the extra
Effluent, yeah.
affluent, it is a processed fertilizer that we then put in the garden, but there's no smell to it.
Yeah.
So it's even if you had pigs,
fully broken down
it's
at
fully
that
broken
stage.
down. I think it should be a law. If you have pigs, you have a biodigester, because it will just kill that smell. Otherwise, you just but
It's overpowering.
it's overpowering. So that's basically what a biodigester is. So you can definitely take care of your bathrooms, right? So if you don't want to dig about
like what you put in here.
you can
There's
have
these
this,
portable kind of.
and you don't need a soakaware. So if you want to protect your water source, because sometimes you only have a little spot in your yard. So if you're digging a borehole and you're digging a soakaware, right, it will help you to pay the extra and have this, and then you can get gas from it too,
Yes.
as opposed to polluting your water source.
And what kind of volumes of gas are we talking about? If one has a regular supply into it, are you I would assume you'd have enough gas then to meet household needs.
Household needs, yes.
And then some, or?
And then some if you have the cow on site and you just load it, because it's just a matter of how much you're loading, right?
Yeah.
And then some I'd have to be making too many trips to the chicken place. But if it's right there and every day you have manure to feed it, we'll have more than enough.
So this actually also sounds like if one had a processing side to the property as well, you'd actually be saving on inputs for, say electricity or charcoal if one was doing that. If you're then producing your own gas that you could then be cooking and
like if we're like
processing.
making jams or things like that, and we constantly needed power or to cook, right? We just have gas to cook. So we're saving
from
money.
our own waste.
From our own waste, right? Because literally we're flushing away dollars.
Yes.
Literally, right? But worse, we're flushing it away with clean water, clean drinkable water. Really? That's not very smart there. But, I think there's different ways, different ideas that people can incorporate it.
I've noticed this when we came in. This is a bit of a strange looking apparatus. What is this doing here? What is it? Sorry.
Yeah, it's a Time Machine 2000.
Oh, it's
No, I'm just kidding. It's actually our solar dryer.
okay.
Yeah, because the thing about farming or growing stuff, you have to have the ability to value add or process it to a case that you can eat it when you need it. Otherwise, it's just all spoilage, right?
Yeah.
So this allows us to be able to dry our lemongrass, our apples. We're able to dry the stuff and add value to it, or just dry it for later.
Yeah.
So, it works pretty simply by, the hot air. This is a fiberglass, right? It's heated up because the inside is painted black.
Yeah.
So and then there's an opening at the bottom. So
To pull in air
the
from
hot
there.
air, and hot air rises. So as it rises, it comes through here, and the convection fan pulls it up.
Okay.
As it's coming up, it's drying the vegetables. Because the thing about if you're going to dry anything for sale is it can't be under direct sun, though that would dry it, but it will dry out all the nutrients too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a balance. But even though this is supposed to be a commercial size, it's not really big enough to do real commercial drying.
And At the moment, what have you been drying, actually?
Like we have our hibiscus, our, let's see, things like our hibiscus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when we're making our hibiscus tea.
For your hibiscus teas and things like that?
Yeah, hibiscus tea, and our lemon rings. I was doing an experiment.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah, but they're a little too bitter.
With lemon, yeah, I can imagine that might be because I can imagine this is a way that you could also make like fruit leathers and stuff like that too. If you blended it and then put it on here for it to
evaporate. I mean, I'm actually doing a test over here.
Oh, look at that.
It's not, I'd have to start it in there, and probably I made it a little too thick.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So that's the experimentation part again, isn't it?
Yeah, so for the fruit leather, I think you just need a little harder in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then when you, did you want to taste the lemon drink?
Sure, I'll try some.
Sorry, I'm just eating by myself.
This is lemon.
Lemon. I should have probably rinsed out because the tangy is still.
Yeah, but it's quite nice actually. Just lemon, no sugar or anything like that.
Sugar.
There is a bit of sugar, okay.
Yeah. So even though it's like it's a flower bed, but we have a lot more fruit than flower because we have there's turmeric with papaya, there's prickly pear, there's asparagus, we have artichoke. So you can balance it. We have aloe vera over there, but if you mix it up, it doesn't all have to be pure ornamental. And some volunteers that I probably need to cut down. And so you see the room. I mean the shrubs over here keep this part of the house cooler, right? Because we can't grow any trees anywhere close to it.
Yeah.
Because of the solar panels, but we're trying to keep this part cooler.
Yeah. No, it's hugely important. I don't think there's a lot of people that quite think of those things going forward, and then they complain and yada yada yada. But if anything, rather than building something to accommodate, actually being able to incorporate living plants is the best solution.
Yeah, because there's nothing like it. Nothing cools down a place more than a tree.
Yeah. All right, so here we have your chickens.
Yes.
And they don't really get out beyond here. They are controlled, or do you let them into the syntropic area?
Well, I do, but depends on what we're growing. Because, their job description is attack termites. But, they attack everything.
Yeah.
So depending on what's growing, at some point the idea is when the trees are bigger and they can go in pretty much every day.
Yeah.
But at this point, when things are still young,
they need to be controlled.
They need to be controlled.
Yeah, they don't listen to instructions in the way that we would hope, is it?
Yeah. So.
And you are getting eggs on a regular basis, then?
We're getting eggs on a regular basis, and now we're putting we're incubating, starting to incubate some of it, so we can grow our stock, so that I can have control of the organic part of it.
Okay.
Because it's very difficult when you're getting it from somewhere else, what they've used and how they've raised them. So we just want to be able to say that we're organic and really be organic from scratch, right? So, So
how many chickens do you have at the moment?
I think they're like 21 or something.
Oh wow! So you do have actually quite a few.
They're 21 or something.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we want to get to a place where we have 30 eggs a day.
Oh wow! Okay.
So that's we can work with that. So, but then we're deeply mulched. They have about this much of sawdust in there. So, can you smell them?
Not really. No, actually, not at all.
Yeah. So with deep mulch, because the sawdust, that's carbon.
Yeah.
It just neutralizes the ammonia, the urea, and you're constantly mixing it around, right? So it can stay in there for 3-4 months.
Okay.
And when you take it out, you put in fresh one, but that is straight. It's already processed manure to go into the garden or into your compost pile.
Yeah.
So they're, even though they're confined, they're still adding to the pile, or they're contributing to the pile.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's all about having some form of agency. If I can grow 50%, 60% of my own food, it just changes the discussion.
Yeah.
Right? And now with everything going on, being able to be food secure, I think is very important.
Yeah.
But can we do it in wherever we're at? Because everyone has an idea of, okay, I need to have 3 acres and all that stuff. No, just start where we're at.